play. We've got stories for your day. From Onefinity, it's clear to see the finest CNC. It's the Cutting Edge Podcast. Let's take a flight.
Hey, welcome to the Cutting Edge Podcast presented by Onefinity CNC. I am Morgan, Stone's stepdad, my co-host.
Hey guys, I'm Stone.
And today we are talking about accessories for your Onefinity CNC. We've covered a lot in the first 4 episodes, and we haven't really talked about all the stuff that you can add to your CNC. Yes, we make a CNC, a great one at that. But all the stuff that you can add to your CNC to get even more mileage out of it. So no sense in waiting. Let's just dive right in.
All right. Well, like Morgan said, we kind of just wanted to go over the stuff that you can add on to your CNC or upgrade your CNC with, just so you get an idea of the full Onefinity ecosystem. I know, like he said, we've kind of covered a little bit of everything in the first 4 episodes, but this should kind of wrap us up and then kind of bring everything full circle. So you've got an idea of everything that Onefinity is and does and stands for, and everything we provide, so that you can have the most success in your shop. So before we really dive into it, we'll have to link down below if we can. I think we can. But I'm going to put a listing for, or a link towards our forum. We have a FAQ and it's labeled, "What does Onefinity recommend to purchase?" But really what that is just kind of the listings of all of the accessories and what their uses are, how they can kind of affect your shop and your setup and your workflow, just so you can help make to help you make an informed decision on what to get along with your Onefinity. So yeah, like Morgan said, we're just going to dive into it, and let's start with the Joypad, because I feel like that is probably one of, if not the most, I guess, loved accessories, just because it makes life so easy.
I love it.
Yeah. So tell us about the Joypad.
So the Joypad is it would look familiar to most anyone around the world. It looks like an Xbox controller, or like a standard Bluetooth game controller that you can hook up to your Apple TV or whatever. It's a very familiar looking thing and feeling thing, and you can jog your machine with this with the Joypad. So rather than having to do it on the screen, which we do have that capability on our touchscreen interface, but it's done in steps and with the touchscreen, and it doesn't feel as like, well, it's not as fast, and it doesn't feel as smooth as the Joypad. So you've got this game controller that comes either wired or wireless. You have that option. But you can change the speed with how fast it's jogging. So X, Y, and Z, move the machine around, get it to exactly where you want it, and it feels nice. And it was honestly one of my favorite things about the original series and the Pro Series machines. And when the Elite Series came out, it doesn't work with the Joypad, which was kind of a bummer. I was sad about that. There is a pendant that you can get that works with the Masso that I'm told by people who use it is, once you get used to it, it's even better. But yeah, it's just a joy. Like, I'll give the Joypad to my daughter and take the bit out of the machine and just let her just jog the machine around. She gets a kick out of using this little controller to, play around with Dad's cutting robot.
I'm just laughing because I've got to tell this story. This is too good of a story not to tell. So this was probably about my 1-year anniversary of working with Onefinity. But there was an older gentleman who had gotten his machine, and he sent in a video to support. And he was literally just so excited to have his machine. And he was jogging it with the Joypad. So
it's not me, by the way.
It wasn't Morgan. No,
Okay.
no. This guy he's probably 75 to 85, somewhere in there. But a retired gentleman, super nice guy. But he was setting up his CNC and he was excited, and he just sent in a video to support to show how excited he was and thank us, I guess. But his exact quote was he's jogging his machine, and he's kind of looking at the machine, and he looks back over his shoulder at the camera, and his exact quote was, "In some countries, this is better than sex." But that just made my day. It was one of those things where it was really funny, but the Joypad is just fun to use. Like you said, it's something that is different than other CNCs. It's a fun and interesting way to set up your material.
Yeah.
But just a little more about the Joypad. Like Morgan said, you can jog all 3 axes with it, but you can also lock out individual axes, so you can jog one at a time, so you can get very, very accurate movements with it.
Yeah, absolutely. So like if you're familiar with that style of controller, there's 4 buttons on the right hand side. There's a blue one, a red one, a yellow one, and a green one, and each one of them will change the speed at which it will jog. So like I believe it's the green one. The green one, the blue one is the slowest.
It
so
would
like
be the blue one is the
yeah,
slowest.
the blue one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like if you're on yellow, you're firing, going at your maximum travel speed. But then if you are really trying to get to, so like if you have to manually set Z or something like that, you're going to use blue to manually set any axis really, but you're going to use the blue to really just very slowly sneak up to where you want it positioned and zero out from there. So very, very nice, very easy way to do it, because like you've got your hands on this thing, you're not having to look back at a screen and touch a button and then look at the bit and then back at the screen and then back at the bit, back at the screen, then back at the bit. You just got it in your hand and you can just keep your eye on it and dial it in. So I really love jogging the machine with the Joypad. That's my favorite accessory.
Mm-hmm. I use it a ton when I'm using a V-bit, just because it's so much easier to set your zero like that.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Anyways, that's enough about the Joypad.
I could just go on and on about the
It really is. It's a great accessory. It just makes it so much easier. Everything's so much faster with it. And the same with the pendant. Obviously, like Morgan said, the pendant is a little different. Takes some getting used to, but you can get really accurate movements with it. But at the same time, if you're using the Elite, you also have the continuous jog mode. So it's not as big of an upgrade on the Elite series. But for the Pro and the original, 100% recommend the Joypad. Another accessory that's kind of it's becoming more and more common now, now that we're 4 years into this, but we have our standalone touchscreen interface. And it's standalone because our controllers all are standalone, meaning you don't have to plug them into a computer or a laptop to run the machine. So we use a touchscreen interface with the Pro and the original series that just has a couple of cables that go to that controller, one for the touch and one for the display and one for power. But that just it makes it so that you are not going back and forth between your computer and the machine. You don't have to bring your computer into a really dusty environment that's not going to be good for the internal electronics. And on top of everything, it makes it so that your workspace is not cluttered. You have free space around you. And you're just not worrying about, knocking your computer off or anything like that. So,
or having to get an additional computer that's just dedicated for CNC.
That too. Yeah. I know a lot of people have a laptop that just kind of stays right there next to their machine so that they don't have to move anything. So
yeah. So that's huge. And it's just kind of, I don't know, just in terms of ease of use, it has a very finished, polished feel of having an interface, because I've used machines that have, like I guess they would call it a pendant, but it's a I don't know. It just looks like one of those Texas Instrument like graphing calculators.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it looks like. And it's got this tiny little screen, analog that it's just hard to really know what's going on. This is a much
Yeah.
more approachable, easier to use system.
Yeah. Rather
The
than
touchscreen.
having just a small, couple inch wide, a digital readout with analog numbers, you have a full HD touch display that shows everything that the machine is doing, um, as well as allowing you to make any changes to the machine that you need to. Um, Another cool thing about that controller, because it is standalone and it has a Raspberry Pi inside, it also has Wi-Fi capability. So you can connect to it via network, via Wi-Fi or with an Ethernet cable. So that's another cool way that Onefinity has kind of set that machine apart from others, and being able to connect directly to Wi-Fi or to a network, and to access that remotely through another computer. So that's another cool thing.
And that's really nice. It's really nice, at least for my purposes, in the way that I have my machine set up in my shop. I have it set up kind of weird. It's a little bit different than a lot of people would have it set up, but my machine is it's on the well, it's not the floor, but it's on casters, so sitting very low to the ground under the outfeed of my main workstation in my shop.
It's like a trundle bed.
Yeah, kind of like that. So like the screen, I have it also inside of that enclosure, and it's got it's on the mount, so I can swing out and I can access it. But like, I do have to kind of crouch down to be able to touch the screen. So once I have my material set up and everything, and my machine is homed, everything that I need to do, I'll connect to the machine with my iPad and set it on top of my bench, and then I can control it. It's basically just a mirror image of what you would see on the touchscreen interface, just on my iPad. So, just for comfort and ease of use, I've found that very useful.
No, I'm the same way. So what I'll do is, obviously, I mean, you have to turn the machine on first, but I'll turn the machine on and I just leave. With the Elite series, you have to have a USB in. There's no onboard storage. So if you leave a USB in the Elite series, and with the original and Pro, you don't have to do that. But I will, I've set up a static IP for I have 4 machines in this next room over here. Over here. It looks like I'm pointing to you, but I'm not, because of the way it's got it set up. But I have 4 machines in this room. I had to one up Morgan. And all of them have IP or static IP addresses set up, so that when I'm sitting here, I finish making my file on this computer here. Literally, all I have to do is type in that static IP, or I have a bookmark for it. And I just drop my file in there, and then I walk in there, I set up my material, and I press play. So it just makes it easier, even if you do have, space or whatever. It's an easy way to drop it in, and that way you don't have to load a USB or anything like that either. But it gives you options. That's the big thing, is you have options of how you want to approach your workflow and how you want to do that. So you can do it whatever way suits you best.
Right on. So we've just kind of, I don't know, organically started focusing on, we like wrote down a list, but it was in like no particular order. But we've just kind of started focusing on accessories that are unique to the Onefinity, and not really something that that you can get with any other machine, or are readily available with other machines. So let's try to just like knock out all the ones that are Onefinity specific. So the Joypad and the touchscreen interface.
You have a quick change waste boards. That's a Onefinity specific accessory.
Yeah, quick change wasteboard, and that that goes hand in hand with the rolling folding stand as well. Mm-hmm. So the quick change wasteboard, the way that these machines are designed, they're modular, so they're not fixed to a factory bed when you get it, and the reason for that is so that you can upgrade your machine as as new things come out, as you're, wanting to upgrade, wanting to grow. So you can change your rails, and you're not confined to a factory bed. Um, and so we made the quick change wasteboard to be able to basically be able to adapt to however you have your machine configured. Um, and so you can have your machine just sitting on a table, or you can put it on this quick change wasteboard, which, when put together, looks a lot like a factory bed that you would see on any other machine. But um, they can be, those are also modular.
Yeah.
And there's a couple different options as far as legs. So you can just get fixed legs if you just have your machine in one spot and you know that that's where you want to keep it. Then you just get the fixed leg stand, and then your wasteboard, your legs, your machine, everything is just right there, set in stone. But then there's the rolling folding stand, which when I first saw that, I was just like blown away, because you think of CNC like it's a big piece of machinery. It's going to be fairly stationary. But no, so we have a rolling folding stand where on one side the legs fold up, and then the other side's got some wheels, and it looks a lot like a job site table saw. When you fold up the stand of a job site table saw, and then you just tilt it back, and then it's got wheels on the bottom, and you just roll it up to wherever you want. We have that for a CNC. So if you are moving around, or if you work in a garage and you need to kind of move stuff in the side so that you can park a car in there, the rolling folding stand allows you to fold the machine up and set it against the wall, which I've never seen any other machine be able to do that. Actually, a long time ago, I saw one of the earlier Onefinity users. I want to say earlier, but this was fairly early on when we came out. It was a fireman, and he had a rolling folding stand, and he had just sent us a little video of him unloading his machine from the back of his truck and setting it up in the bay at the fire station, and then doing some work, in between calls, and then loading it back up in his truck and taking it home when his shift was done.
Yeah, and I want to say he even would he would run it, and then if they got a call, he would just press the pause button,
Yeah.
And then when they get back, just start it back up. So that's another cool thing about all the Onefinities. You can pause them and come back and finish later.
Yeah. You can pause it, move it around, and then come back and finish it. It's nuts.
Well, not with
as long as it's connected to power.
Yeah, if it's powered.
Yeah.
If you don't turn off the original or Pro, then you can do that for sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Another thing kind of going off of that is the wall mount. So along with the rolling folding stand and the fixed stand, if you put the machine onto our QCW, you can mount it to the wall. It uses 16-inch on center studs, which is very standard across the globe. But that allows you to mount the machine on the wall so it sticks out about 2 feet. And then rather than taking up, a 5 foot by 5 foot space on your floor, it's taking up a 5 foot by 2 foot space on the wall, so that you don't losing floor space. And people with smaller shops, whether that's because you want to park a car in your garage or anything like that, where you just don't have room on the ground to set the machine up, horizontally, you can mount it vertically. So that also is another Onefinity specific accessory.
Yeah. And when I first saw the wall mount thing, I was just like, y'all are speaking my love language, because so my shop is 284 square feet. I don't have a whole lot of floor space to spare. So the ability to mount it on the wall and preserve what little floor space I have is just invaluable. So that's something that at least I'm not aware you can do with another machine. I'm sure you could build something to mount another machine on the wall, but that's not something that would be easily done or probably recommended at all. So that's another thing that is, I think, Onefinity specific and is awesome for space, whether you're having to move your setup around or your setup is just inherently small.
You got to move your thumb. It keeps making thumbs up.
Is that what like I keep seeing that? I'm like,
have you not,
what is this?
Have you never seen this? Yeah,
No,
if you do it'll do with fireworks.
So all right, so like when you comment on like on a live or something, or like you're going live on Instagram, like you'll see like a bunch of hearts like float up the screen. And I think that is something that somebody intentionally was like, oh, let's give him some hearts on the screen. So when I see those little thumbs ups, I think that it's you hitting some button saying like, yeah, I like what you're saying right now. Thumbs up. It's great.
Mine won't do it. But yeah, you've been sitting there for like 5 minutes and it's just been going off over and over.
So what other gestures are there that I can... All right, we'll play around with that later.
We'll mess with that later. Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Come back for the after episode. No. So yeah, that was the wall mount. Here's another really cool one. This is not specific just to Onefinity, but I believe we are the only company that you can buy all of these directly through us, with everything you need. So we are a partner with JTech Photonics out of Houston, Texas. And Jay down there at JTech is super smart guy. But he has a line of lasers that he's developed as add-ons for hobby CNCs. And if you haven't seen these things, you got to check them out. But we have 4 different options. We have a 7-watt, a 14-watt, a 24-watt, and a 44-watt laser. And all 4 of those lasers now, they are all quick connect, so they're plug and play. You have, I believe it's 3 total cables that come with it. You have a power cable, 1 cable that runs to the laser head, and 1 that runs between the Onefinity controller and the laser driver. But you hook up those 3 cables. They all have the same mount now. They're all interchangeable, so you can swap out between different laser heads for different wattages and applications. And that just gives you a super easy, super quick way to change laser heads around for different effects on different materials. But he's also just released the 7 and the 14-watt plus versions, which have the same power and abilities as the old ones, but they are using the safety interface board that this 24 and the 44-watt use, meaning that all 4 lasers are now completely interchangeable. So all of them, you can swap them out for one another and do that without having to change out. Yeah, you don't have to change out that little black box that says JTech Photonics. For a long time, it was a driver, a true driver. But now that driver is actually inside of the laser head. So that board is really just a safety interface that allows it to fire. And because it's just that, for all 4 of them, they are all interchangeable between the board, the head, all the cables, the power supply. So all across the board, all 4 of those, at least with the 2024 and later ones, will be completely interchangeable. So that's a big addition as far as accessories go as well.
Yeah, and I think being able to attach a laser to your CNC is huge for like I don't think we talk about it enough, but like if you are starting a business, or if you've got some ideas for projects that a laser would fit the bill for, buying a standalone laser, those things are massive. They're huge. They're like the deep freeze that you keep in the garage. Like, I mean, they're enormous. But this, it's a small unit that attaches to the spindle mount on your machine. So whatever the capacity of your machine is, you now have a laser with that same capacity.
Yeah.
Which is, I mean, again, for small shops, that's invaluable. You wouldn't be able to do that with one of those big standalone units. So that's one of the accessories that I would like to focus more on talking about more. Like it's crazy.
Well, I mean, I think one of the most appealing things about it now, especially with the higher power lasers like the 44 watt, is even after you've purchased a Onefinity, and if you purchase like the 44 watt laser with a Elite Foreman, which is our biggest, most expensive machine, you're still looking at all of that for half of the cost of a CO2 laser of the same size. And that machine will do everything that CO2 laser could do and more. It may not do it in the exact same way, but you can still cut all the same materials, whether that's with the CNC router or with the JTech laser. You can still do all the same stuff, but at half the price. So,
yeah. So lasers, huge accessory. Probably one of my favorite ones.
And they're fun for stuff like customizing.
Yes. What is that? Is that just MDF?
No, this is it's backed with foam, like PVA foam, but it's a cork board for like thumbtacks and stuff. It's what I put my little sticky notes on here at the office so that whenever I need to remind myself to do something the next day, but it being in the office, I was just like, hey, I'm going to use the laser. And that took like 2.5 minutes with I think this one was with the 14 watt. But yeah, so it's just it's a fun little thing that you can, have fun with and experiment with.
Yeah. Speaking of experiment, I did a whole video where I just kind of like buried myself, dug deep into lasers, and just experimented with anything and everything I could think of. And that's a fun video. So if you want to know more about the JTech lasers, we got a good video on our YouTube channel where I go into that.
Morgan literally spent a month putting it together, so it is very, very detailed. It's very entertaining. So y'all can check that out.
Yeah, I took way longer than I probably should have, but I just kind of like I got tunnel vision. I got into this thing and I was like, I need to know everything about these lasers and what they can do. So I hope that y'all find it as informative as I feel like it is.
You will, for sure. I actually I used your setting for steel from that video last week to do a Zippo lighter with the laser. So,
and did it go work?
It worked great. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. So
awesome.
We can all learn something. See?
There we go.
Okay, moving on. Let's talk about upgrades. So upgrades is one thing. This is very Onefinity specific, but it's also something that is, I think, one of the coolest things about us. Not about us per se, but about Onefinity.
Like you and me?
Is the fact that we allow you to upgrade your CNC. Not only the CNC, but also you can upgrade your quick change wasteboard so that you can get the pieces whenever you make your CNC. So let's say you have a 16 by 16, which is our machinist. You can upgrade your X-rail on any of our machines. So basically I could go from a 16 by 16 to a 16 by 32. Or if I have a 32 by 32, I can go from a 32 by 32 to a 32 by 48. So allowing you to grow your machine as your business grows, or as you've become more comfortable with it, or you have realized, hey, I need more space on this table. Whatever the reason is, it allows you to go back and add on without having to completely scrap the whole machine and start over. And I think that's really cool, not only because it allows people to save money, but rather than like having to go through the whole process of getting everything completely set up again and relearning a new system, you're using the same system. You change out one part with 8 different bolts. And then after you've done that, you push like 3 buttons and you're ready to go again. So, I really oversimplified that and how I explained it, but it really is like, it's a 20-minute process, maybe, if that. And you
Well,
have
I think the sorry, I didn't mean to cut you
no, you're
off.
good. You're good.
I think the real value there is that that's not something you can do with other machines.
Hmm.
Is like you can't just if you have I'm not going to name any names, but if you have another machine and you have a specific size, I mean that's the size that you have. You can't modify it. You can't swap out a rail and give yourself more capacity. You got to sell the machine on marketplace and get what you can get for it, and then get a whole new one, and then spend the several days or whatever, however long it takes to put that new machine together. This is it all comes down to it's modular design. Like Onefinities
Mhm.
are put together in such a way that they are I
It's
don't want to say
designed
like
to be
Legos.
taken apart and reassembled and to be done so easily.
Yeah, exactly. And that is the thing. Just it's our design ethos. You know,
Mhm.
that is something that's unique to Onefinity. It and not something that you would get with any other machine. So I think that's the real value is that like your machine can grow with you. If you only have the space for one machine right now, but you end up getting some more space, or you end up compromising something else because your business is growing, you're not having to scrap a whole machine. You just swap out the parts that you need to
Yeah.
give you the space that you need.
I think
And with those, sorry, go.
no. What were you gonna say?
I was gonna say, and with those upgrades, and that's part of a program. I feel like this is probably worth mentioning. It's called our Infinite Possibilities program. That's what it's called. So it's not like you just call us and we say like, oh, we'll see what we can do. It is an actual program that you apply for, you register for, and you're in our system. So it's everything is processed and documented, so that we know exactly what parts you have, what your machine is comprised of, and we make the process very very seamless. And those machines that when you upgrade your machine, so say you send back an X rail because you want to go from 32 by 32 to 32 by 48. So all the parts that we get back from upgraded machines, those get refurbished at our facility, and then those are given away actually to veterans and maker spaces
First responders.
and first responders. Right.
Yeah.
So those are like our three categories. But yes, so first responders, veterans, and maker spaces can apply to receive one of those machines, one of those refurbished machines. We do a giveaway once a month, and they are made out of the parts from customers who have upgraded their machines to bigger.
Yeah. So just to give you a little more background on that, yes, we are taking these return items. So if you had a 32 by 32 and you went to the 32 by 48, we will send you the new 48-inch rail. And once you get that all installed and everything, you take the old one that you took off of the machine, you box it up in the packaging that we sent the new one in, and you return it to us with the included label. Once those get back to us, what we're doing is all of the mechanical parts are refurbished, cleaned, replaced if they're needed. And then all of the electronics are replaced. So it's brand new electronics and wiring. And what we'll do is like Morgan said, we take a 15-day period at the beginning of every month. So if you're interested, y'all check it out on the Infinite Possibilities page of our website. But we'll take the first 15 days of every month to take entries. You're allowed one entry per month per individual. And then on the 20th of every month, we'll do a drawing, and we select a person that fits into one of those three categories of makerspace, first responder, or veteran. And that person wins that machine that month. So it's something that we've just kind of relaunched and reworked. But we think it's really cool that we get to do stuff like that. And we're grateful that we have this program that allows us not only to help customers in growing their business and their CNC, but also in allowing someone who doesn't have the resources, but is definitely deserving to get into this hobby and this business. So,
Absolutely. So we kind of went off on the weed. We're not off on the weeds. I mean, it's important to talk about, but
no,
we went
that's
on a tangent
yeah.
on that. And yeah, so I mean, like, yeah, just naturally talking about upgrades, it led into the Infinite Possibilities program. But
yeah,
that's a very cool thing, and we'll if we're new to this platform, so I don't even know, but if there is a way to put a link in the description, I'm used to YouTube. That'll be there.
it'll be there wherever we can figure out how to put it there. Yeah.
Yeah, there we go. See, we got it figured out.
I think that's enough about accessories. I think let's talk about some of our partners.
All right.
Obviously, I guess it kind of is still more accessories, but we do have a number of partners that we've worked with either from the beginning or some people that we've just started working with recently. But we have a lot of different partners that we work with that make Onefinity a better ecosystem. Obviously, we're proud of our machines. We think they're great. A lot of you guys think they're great. But being able to offer you things that we may not be focused on or may not have the time to develop, but other people have already worked on and have good products, we're happy to be able to work with those people because it makes everyone's business better and it makes your experience better in the end. So,
yeah. So we already talked about JTech.
Yeah, we talked about JTech.
So oh my gosh, the thumbs up thing keeps going. I don't know.
It doesn't like my thumbs.
So we already talked about JTech. I mean, like we make great CNCs. We don't know anything about lasers. Well, I mean, or how to make lasers.
No.
But JTech does. And so that's why they are a partner, and we were happy to work with them and offer their products to give you a better CNC experience. And like we were talking about this in an earlier episode about like software. You know, some machines, some brands have their own proprietary software. It's like we don't mess around with that. Like we make a great machine.
Yeah.
There's already software companies that make outstanding software. Let them do the software. We make great machines. Like you can either be awesome at one thing or kind of good at two things, you know? Yeah. So JTech, Jay handles the lasers. Pete from Rowdy Roman, he is like our official
he's our official third-party accessory maker. Yes. So Pete has made a lot of different things for the Onefinity system, but I think there's two really big ones. The first one is his hose boom. I know a lot of people have it. I have it on like all of my machines. But he's created a hose boom arm that basically just keeps your dust collection hose as well as your router cable, if you don't have drag chains, up and out of the way so that the machine is able to move without everything getting, without your hose kinking or getting in the way or anything causing problems like that. It's really just a organization and what's the word I'm looking for here, Morgan?
Optimization.
Sure. But yeah, so Pete has the dust boot arm. He has a bunch of touch probe holders, Joypad holders, basically everything to make your Onefinity nice, neat, and organized. And he's also recently come out with a new dust boot, the Swinger, which kind of took the internet by storm. I'm talking on both screens right now. But yeah, so Pete is he's a great maker. He's part of the community as well. And he's making Onefinity products just to kind of supplement all of our accessories and things. Like I said, organization, things like that. So make sure you check out his stuff if you're working on getting your Onefinity set up. Another partner, we have two partners in this space, but we obviously, if you're using a CNC, you're going to have tooling and bits. So we have two partners for that. We have partnered up with Bits and Bits. They offer a couple of different kind of starter kits through our website. So we have a two moose design kit. We have a Myers woodshop kit, and both of those are 4 packs with different bits for different applications. As well as a couple other different bits from Bits and Bits. And then we also have partnered up with a real small maker who's actually using a Onefinity when we found him, and that is Cody Elkins from Cadence Manufacturing. But he is making bits specifically for hobby CNC machines. So all of his bits are designed for machines like the Onefinity. And I know that they're great bits and great tools, but those are kind of our two bit partners, so they can make sure you've got all the tooling that you need to be successful with your CNC.
So one unique thing about Cody and I'm pretty sure Bits and Bits, but Cody. So there's a lot of, you can get bits from. There's 1,000 different bit companies out there, and a lot of them are sourced from the same places and are just kind of like white label, just like they're just branded, however they need them branded. Cody makes his bits. He physically, in the United States, goes to a shop, uses machines to make the bits. He doesn't just order them and put his brand on them.
Yeah, and Bits and Bits does the same thing as well.
Same thing with Bits and Bits. So those are like the only, there's hardly anybody that actually makes the bits in the United States.
Yeah, so Cody is making his bits. He's in Arizona, and he's making all of his in-house. And then Bits and Bits is up in Oregon, and they make theirs in-house. So
yeah, so that's rare. And I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with the bits from other brands. I've gotten bits that are just fine from other brands that I know, just because I know that they were all sourced from the same factory.
yeah,
But I do like the idea of supporting American makers. Like, we make stuff with wood on our CNCs, and Bits and Bits and Cadence, they make bits with their machines.
I think maybe not so much just American, but maybe North American, because Onefinity is, after all, a Canadian company. But
True.
With that being said, even with Onefinity being a Canadian company, I feel like there is a level of comfort that people get from buying something where they're not importing it. So obviously,
let me take that back. Let me reframe that entirely. So not American, not North American, not any particular region at all. Independently made, like not coming out of a giant factory of some conglomerate that's making a bunch of bits for 20, 30, 40, 50 different brands. This one brand is making their bits that they're selling, and that's their brand, that's their product. I support that, whether they're in North America, South America, underground America, outer space. I don't care where they are. I like supporting the independent companies that are making their own product.
Yeah, I mean, like, and the thing that's really cool, I think, is, like, obviously Bits and Bits is a little bit larger, but they're still a family-run business. They're still a small family-run business. They are working together. They're making their tooling in-house, and then Cody, obviously, he's a one-man show. I'm sure you got to give some credit to his wife. Nobody does anything by themselves, but it's the thing that's like, you've got these small companies who are making these really, really high quality products, and because they have their own hands in it, they take more pride in it too. So it's not like you're getting bits from some big company where they don't really care. They got your money. That's all that matters. These people want to make your experience the best that they can because they want you to come back. They want you to enjoy using their tools the same way that we do. And that's what we really love about working with these people. So,
and then just not to go on and on, but just one last thing to add about Bits and Bits, and then another about Cadence. So Bits and Bits, I'm not sure if you mentioned this. You probably did, and I just didn't hear it. But we do include a 1/4 inch downcut bit. Yeah. So with every machine, buy a machine from us. Every machine comes with a 1/4 inch spiral downcut bit from Bits and Bits. So those are provided for everybody. So it's like you hate to get a machine and then it's like, oh, I didn't think about, okay, I have to order something and wait another couple of days to actually cut. It's like if you buy a printer and then you have no ink cartridges. It's like, okay. So,
yeah, and it's a 1/4 inch downcut is a very, very commonly used bit too. So it's one that you're going to get a lot of use of.
That's your workhorse right there. So there's that about Bits and Bits. And Cody, so I talking to him at Workbench Con, because he is, a one-man show and he's just very personally interacting with the community. He will hear what people's needs and wants are in terms of like bit geometry and what they need a bit to do. And he will come up with a brand new bit to see if does this work? So like he's taking suggestions from CNC users and coming up with whole new bit geometries to better improve his product line. So that's I think that's definitely worth mentioning.
Yeah. He's got some really, really cool stuff coming. I can't say anything else, but you're going to be impressed.
He's coming up with a line of blenders. Watch out, Ninja.
And lastly, our last partner, and this is our newest, most recent partner. Actually, this happened 4 days ago at the time that we were recording this. So we have most recently partnered up with AirWeights. So AirWeights is a standalone vacuum table system for hobby CNCs. It uses a ultra quiet pump, and basically you screw it to the table, and you've got a little bit of rubber gasketing, and it will hold your material in place for you without any screws or double-sided tape or CA glue or any of that stuff. So it just really, really simplifies the milling process. Morgan has actually just been out to visit the guys at AirWeights a few weeks ago, so I'll kind of let him take this one.
Yeah, so it kind of came up like spur of the moment. I was actually visiting Stone at the Onefinity shop, and we had been talking with Jace from AirWeights for a little bit, and while I was there visiting Stone, we kind of struck this deal with AirWeights, and we're like, we got this partnership. We're set up. We're gonna do these bundles that we offer on our website. Can you go out to AirWeights like next week?
And he said, yeah.
Well, I said, well, I'm with family next week, but the week after, it's like, so like 2 weeks. So like in 2 weeks, can you go out to AirWeights and just shoot a video talking about, their operations. We just think it's really cool. And it's a cool story worth sharing. And the reason that's a story worth sharing is because it started out, it's just Jace was just he was a Onefinity customer. He had gotten some experience in his career with using a CNC and wanted to start making his own products. Wasn't sure what products those would be yet. But he'd gotten pretty familiar with CNC, and so he got a Onefinity. And the first thing that he made with his Onefinity was a vacuum table, just so that he could have proper work holding to be able to make whatever it was he decided that he wanted to make eventually. And just kind of in spending time on the forum, he realized that there's a significant need for vacuum tables, because that's something that's common, and you see it a lot on huge industrial machines, but it's not something that it's seldom seen on hobby machines. And it's rare, and it's not very accessible, and it's never been really all that elegant the way that it's been done before for hobby CNCs. And so he came up with AirWeights, and he uses a Onefinity to make AirWeights, and he uses his AirWeights on a Onefinity to make more AirWeights. And it's cool. It's just awesome to see. So I went out to Colorado to see his shop and spend a couple days with him and hear about his story and see his operation. He's got it just dialed in just beautifully. And that we thought was just like a testament to, having a great idea and being able to take an idea, or even just kind of just a passing whim of a hobby, and turn it into a full-time gig, and turn it into a whole business, by just having the machinery to be able to do it. And so Jace has been relying on Onefinities to build up his business, and we're proud to be partnering with him, and we're just proud of him for what he's doing.
Yeah. I mean, it's always cool to see how people are using our machines, whether that's, to make a product to sell, or do something cool that no one's done before. So I know our tagline is one machine, infinite possibilities, but it really, like, as cliche as it sounds, like, there really are infinite possibilities. It's just what can you think up? So
there's another one that I've seen kind of like on our website, and just kind of like in our in our branding space, is we've started using the phrase like redefining the CNC experience, which I also think is really cool, because
reinventing the CNC experience, I think.
Yeah, reinventing. What did I say?
Redefining.
Not redefining, reinventing, reimagining, redefining. Yeah. What is it? Redefining or reinventing?
I think it's reinventing. But
either way,
I've got stickers in the next
either
room.
way, either way, it's true. It really is reinventing the CNC experience. And yeah.
Did we just come up with a title for this episode?
I think we did.
Man.
It keeps giving me the thumbs up. And I think I take that as a sign.
I can't get it to work.
Really? It just, I don't know. Just keeps going.
Oh, man.
I'll take that as a sign, though. Well,
Yep.
You know what? I think that we have just about covered this, more than adequately. I think it's time to call it.
Yeah. Anyways, even if we do ramble on sometimes, we hope that you get a lot of good educational information out of this. If not, I hope we're at least entertaining. But as always, we'll catch you on the next one. Y'all have a great week. We'll see you next time.
Thanks for listening. Y'all be good.
Gather around, it's time to play. We've got stories for your day. From Onefinity, it's clear to see the finest CNC. It's the Cutting Edge Podcast. Let's take a flight with designs and tools that ignite. From wood to steel, we peel and reveal the art of making done just right. Tips and tricks that elevate, craftsmanship that's first rate. Join the fun, we've just begun, the cutting edge awaits. On this journey side by side, hear the stories far and wide. From dream to deed with utmost speed, where passion takes its stride. It's It's the Cutting Edge Podcast. Let's take a flight with designs and tools that ignite. From wood to steel, we peel and reveal the art of making done just right.